Oh, I'll just. What's up guys, Daddy's here. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day. In today's video, we're going to be discussing kind of like the legalities and whether or not you can, sell copyrighted, trademarked, replica items, Shopify dropshipping, right? Because as most of you know, if you guys have, browsed AliExpress, taken a look around, oftentimes you can find products that look very, very similar to certain goods that exist, okay? Now, what I mean by that is, there are very popular name brand products. For example, like luxury goods like Gucci, Louis Vuitton, stuff like that. AliExpress suppliers will often list products that almost, are exact replicas or very, very similar to those kind of goods, right? And obviously, there is a big market for people, buying knockoffs, buying replicas, buying fake items. But unfortunately for sellers, right, the people that get in trouble are the people selling the actual knockoffs and replicas and copyrighted, trademarked, copyrighted items, right? So basically, right, the short answer is no, you cannot sell copyrighted stuff. But there's nothing really stopping you until you get caught, okay? So what I'm trying to say is, like, you guys shouldn't do that because you do run the risk of getting sued and losing everything you've earned and then some, attorney's fees, everything else like that. Everything regarding the lawsuit essentially. But basically, guys, like, you shouldn't be selling copyrighted stuff. I do know people who have, and they've made, money doing so. I'm telling you guys that, you run the potential of getting sued. It's highly illegal. Most of the times, just from what I know and from what I've heard from other people that have sold those kind of items, is if they do get caught, the company that has, like, that owns the actual rights to that product will usually send a cease and desist, so a C&D. And essentially what that is it's telling someone, hey, you did something illegal, okay? If you don't stop doing this, we have basically the right and the ability and the capability to take you to court and sue you. Because you're either, you're taking their own money. Like Gucci, for example, they invest a lot of money into building their brand. Like, therefore, they are the ones that are selling, their own merchandise. They don't want someone, some random store owner piggybacking off of, like, their own hard-earned, like, brand that took millions and millions of dollars to kind of get to the point where it is, right? So that's the gist of it is, like, no, you can't sell, copyrighted items legally. I do know, again, there are people that do this illegally, and basically, like, their mentality, right, is, oh, I'll just sell this until I get caught or until they send me a cease and desist, and then I'll stop. Usually that's what happens in most cases. Not many times will they actually take you to court. Again, guys, this is different for every single one. Like, do not take this as, like, legal advice, because I am not a lawyer, but I do know a bit about, about this stuff because I've looked into this before, because it is a hot market, guys. Like, especially if you're looking at trendy items, looking at, trendy things. Like, for example, I don't know if you guys have seen, if you guys like, our Instagram a lot, browsing, fashion products and whatnot, because again, my industry, like, I love fashion, selling that kind of stuff, but there were, knockoff, like, cases that were selling, a lot. And they were trendy because people, don't mind necessarily. Like, there's a whole market for buying, knockoffs and stuff, like replicas and everything. And there's a market for that, right? But the supplier is the one that ultimately gets in trouble, the seller, basically. Because again, guys, how it works, right, is the copyrighted items that you're selling, like, they're copyrighted under, like, United States government, basically, right? AliExpress and suppliers are located in China. They really don't care, nor do they even, like, enforce copyrighted laws. So, for example, if you were selling, a Gucci knockoff case, and Gucci contacted you with a cease and desist selling, hey, we're gonna sue you because you're doing something illegal, and we have the right to, right? Then most people, like, unexperienced store owners will, like, they'll reply to them and say, hey, I didn't know that. I was just taking a product off of this website and selling it, right? But they don't care about that. They can't enforce rules in China, okay? Like, nor do they have much power there. Like, they don't, right? But you're the one that's taking a product from overseas and selling it to people, in the United States. And that's where you can kind of get in trouble. And that's where they do have basically kind of like control over you and what you're selling, essentially. So that's, again, guys, like basically a super short, like, hey, you literally just can't do it legally. Again, if you already do, be very careful, because again, it is illegal. You can get sued. But most of the time, guys, they will just send you a cease and desist, which means you just have to stop because it's illegal, or they have the right to pursue you in court for everything that you've made. So that is something to be aware of, guys. And then just talking about copyrighted stuff anyways, I do want to bring up the fact that, a lot of you guys, because I preach content. Like, content is king. If you have good content, you can convert so much easier. And you guys will see that in the 0 to 1K challenge, by the way. Join the waitlist if you aren't there, it's free. But that was my plug. Where was I? This is what happens, guys. It is literally 5:20 in the morning, guys. So good morning to you. But talking about other copyright stuff, right, and content and everything. For those of you that aren't able to get good content, or feel like, hey, I'm not good behind a camera, taking pictures, doing whatever, and you are using pictures off of Google and whatnot. Also be careful of that. Photographers often copyright their images. If, again, a photographer can simply reverse image search their image and see what websites are using it. And if they do see your website, they have, the right to sue you over that for using their image that they took and you are using without their permission. And again, guys, what I've also noticed to be wary of as well is, the bigger companies like Gucci and whatnot, like, they're so big that usually most of the time, like, people selling replicas and stuff, like, don't usually get caught because they're so big. But if you are taking, a photographer's image that necessarily isn't, doesn't have the biggest brand and isn't as out there, if he finds out that you're doing that, most of the time these smaller people will try and, like, pursue you. Basically, like, they'll try and go after you. Okay, so that's something to be aware of, guys. If you do need to get content for your site and you don't want to make sure, like, you want to make sure it's not copyright free, again, you can always just search up stock images. Adobe, for example, Adobe has a great stock image program. Basically, you can browse a bunch of photos that you're allowed to use commercially, or you can just simply go in Google, go to image search for what you want, and then in the filters you can actually do an advanced search and basically search only images that are available for commercial use, which means that you're able to sell things along those images, right? So that's that, guys. Again, this is the kind of video just about copyright in general, I guess, and just be safe out there, guys. Don't do anything illegal to avoid a cease and desist. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care, guys. Don't forget to leave a like. Don't forget to comment. I respond to everybody's comments, and don't forget to subscribe. I will see you guys in the next video. As always, the link to the 0 to 1K challenge is down below. Subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, guys. Peace. And last but not least, don't forget to check out my social media and follow me for updates, giveaways, and literally everything that's cool.